Hi everyone, it's Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kid. I was asked by Crystal to do a video of all my favourite colouring books, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to do it since I don't actually think I've done one. I've obviously talked about some of my favourite books, and you'll see recurring books in my completed pages videos, but I thought I would talk to you a bit about why they're my favourites and when I like colouring them. And I just thought it would be an interesting video to do. So thank you for the suggestion, Crystal. So I'm going to get started. Now these books are small books. So these aren't your normal size colouring book. And the reason I like these three in particular is because they're really good for if there's just a time where I want to do a really quick picture or I'm trying out some pencils. I tend to use Crayolas quite a lot in the compendium book, but they're not books that I come to that often, but they're good for it when I'm in a particular mood and I just want to do something quickly. So the first one is 100 Hugs by Chris Riddle. I got this in London. Well, you'll remember when I got it because I did a flip through, and I have done quite a few pictures. But obviously being 100 hugs, there are over 100 pictures of different hugs. So I've done some, but not, I think I've done 2 more. And since then I've been looking, I used to have some of Chris Riddle's books, and I was seeing if he had any others that are colourable. And so I hope he comes out with more. I've definitely done one more. There we go, Stickman. That was the first one I did. So I've done quite a few in here, but the thing I like about it is that there's loads of different things, different people, different animals, and it's just a really quick colour. These only take me maximum 20 minutes to do. So maybe a bit longer depending on the picture, but I tend to use Prismacolors in here just because they're really good on this paper. But that's one of my small books. Then I have these two by Marja Safstrom, and I don't like absolutely every single picture. There are some that, the animals just aren't my favourite, like there's some spider ones in a few, but I haven't coloured in this one yet, and this is one of the books that I wanted to work on. But I have done some in the compendium. And I got this in America and I'd seen it everywhere before then. But this is just, again, a book where I can do things quite quickly. And I also go over everything with metallic pens. So you can see that some areas are blacked out. Some of the animals are actually blacked out, and then they've just got little dots and stuff on them. See, like this spider one. So some aren't that ideal to colour, because obviously it's not meant to be a colouring book. But I like it. It's quite quirky. The illustrations, and who knows, these may be finished at some point in the future. That's the compendium one, and then this one is by Marja as well. These are the baby animals one. I haven't done anything in it yet, and the format is slightly different to the other one. The other one's got ivory paper, this one's got bright white paper, and her illustrations are a bit more cutesy, I guess, just because they're all babies with their parents. Again, there's a couple of slightly strange ones in, but I still think they're really cute. And they're still very quick to colour, and I love the fact that you get the facts with them as well. So some of the animals that are in here appear in the other book and some don't. So you don't get polar bears in this one, but you do get brown bears, which are just as good. And some unusual animals that I hadn't really heard of before. So it's really interesting. Oh, and you'll have to excuse me, I'm still getting over my cold, so sorry if I'm sniffing. So yeah, they're kind of small books which I like when I'm in a mood or I just want to do something quick. Now I move on to the main books. So first one I have is The Ink House by Rory Dobner. This was very kindly gifted to me by Sue, and thing I love about this book is, again, it's quite quirky. Some of the images are quite unusual. You wouldn't really find them in a normal colouring book, but again, this isn't meant to be a colouring book. Lots of us colourists do use it as a colouring book, but originally he did it as just an illustration book. So what I do with this is I typically colour with my oil pencils, so all of my budget-friendly Faber-Castell pencils, my polychromos, a couple of Prismacolor here and there. Some of the bits are already coloured in blue for you, which I think is an added cool thing. And as you can see, I've done a few pictures in here. And then once I've coloured it, I go over with white Posca and silver gel pen. They're the only things I use for accenting. I don't use glitter in this. There's a mouse colour along going on this month, so I'm thinking of doing this one. Or one of the other mice ones in here. But it's just really quirky, and it would be lovely to finish. You know, both this and the Marge Safstrom books are really nice kind of coffee table books. I know lots of people think of them like that, and I think they're just really, really lovely. So this is the ink house, and the other thing I really like is the fact that the cover comes open. Okay, next book is Schematige by Maria Troll. Now, the thing with this book is, and even though these are kind of my favourite books, again, I kind of have to be in the mood to colour this one, because I've coloured loads of the pictures that I really like, and, you know, if I really stuck at it, this could be a book that I finish, because I think I've almost done half of the pages. But some of the pages that are left are either quite detailed, or they're kind of, the lines are a bit finer and it's not exactly my thing. But you know, at some point I could finish this book. The other thing I really like about this is how thick the paper is. That's kind of what draws me to this book, and I think the paper does make all the difference. And I haven't coloured many of the girls in this book, but quite a few of the double spreads are left. So it's just one that I do have to be in the mood for it. And you know, a couple of months ago, when was it? It was maybe October time, I'm not really sure. I was literally just colouring so many pages. I think I coloured about 5 pages in a row of this book. I was just in the zone, I guess. And you know, that's a really nice thing, because sometimes I'll just come back and be like, oh, I want to colour in this book. So it really depends how I'm feeling, but I did do loads at one point, so you know, maybe I'll come back to it soon, maybe for an Eastery type page with daffodils or something like that. But I really like her style, and her style has developed quite a lot throughout all her books, but I keep coming back to her earlier books. You know, it's this one and Dream Reese. So, you know, I know what I like, and I do really like this book. So, partly because of the paper, but partly because of the illustrations as well, and it's super thick. Next one we have is Mein Spaziergang durch die Jahreszeiten by Rita Berman. Now, I have got quite a few of Rita Berman's other books, but this one really stands out to me because it's got all 4 seasons in one. You don't have all the faff of the separate books, and I just love her style so much. I also like the fact that this is a smaller book and it's square, so it's not as big as the other books, and so the pictures don't take as long to complete. I've done quite a few of the pictures in here. Again, this is one that if I really stuck at it, I could complete, and it's one that I'd like to complete at some point. But there's so many lovely illustrations. You've got the nice mix between detailed and simple. I like to test out new things in here, like techniques, and I use all sorts of gel pens and stuff. I don't just stick to one thing. I use glitter gel pens, metallic gel pens, Jelly Roll Glaze. So it's a real mix of different mediums, and I don't really mind in this book if things don't look realistic, because that's not the aim. Like a dragonfly, it isn't this colour, but I don't mind. So it's really nice to just be able to play around with things and not worry if it's not accurate. In some of my books I like to make things look realistic, but most of the time I don't mind. I've got quite a few of the double page spreads left to do, which is obviously one of the things I tend to go for, either ones that I'm feeling or simple ones, so that is one of the only issues. I've got quite a lot left. And also I prefer the other like the autumn one is my least favourite. It's it's not that I don't love the illustrations, I just don't colour in it as much. And the winter one I've done a bit in, but I kind of got this book around spring summer time and I just did lots of pictures in there, in that section. But this book is really, really thick as well, so that's another bonus. That's what I did this month, so you'll see that in my completed pages. I'll talk a bit more about it then, but it's a lovely book, really, really thick, as you can see, and one that will maybe get completed in the future. Next one we have is Botanical Wonderland by Rachel Reinert. Now, this is the only book that I have of hers. I know she's got the Desert Wonderland one, but I'm kind of focusing on this one, because the Desert Wonderland one has got some women in, and I do enjoy colouring people. It's just I prefer this sort of thing a bit more. So the reason I really like her work is because it's very unusual. Again, it's quite quirky. I find that the mix of illustrators I like are really interesting. They've all got something different to offer, and I think that's really great. So this one, it's just really, really interesting, the style of work. So all of the botanicals are kind of entangled, and with these I tend to go for a colour palette. So, you know, I'm not using too many colours. I will again experiment with loads of different detailing for accenting, so I'll use my Poscas. I've got the pastel ones and the glitter ones, and then I'll use metallic, glitter gel pen, and they're one-sided as well, which is great. And some are more detailed than others, but I think again you get that really nice mix. And you know, I don't really worry about whether things look realistic, because to me these are all kind of made up sort of things, and you know, really interesting. And if it doesn't turn out the best, then I don't really mind, because they're all experimentations, aren't they? And also they have perforations as well, so if you did want to take it out, I wouldn't, because I want to keep them all in the book, but you could give them to someone. And this one as well. So I've done, again, a fair bit in this book. I just think it's absolutely lovely. So that's Botanical Wonderland by Rachel Reinert. And again, really thick paper in that one. Okay, next one we have is Dream Reese. Now you may be quite surprised to see this one, because I haven't coloured in it literally forever. But it's the same thing as Schema Tige. I've suddenly just come back to it. And in the last couple of days, I've already coloured a page and I'm working on my second. The thing about this book is, because it's a storybook, lots of the flowers and scenes repeat. Because it's a story and you're kind of going through the pages, there's no writing to it, but you can tell what's happening just from the images. So there is quite a lot of repetition in pages. So I come back to it when I feel like it, because again, it's not one that you want to force yourself to do, because it is a bit of repetition. So this page is probably one of my favourite pages actually that I've ever coloured. I don't know what it is, I just really like it. I love how it came out, and I'm using these colours for the same flowers in the book. So I started doing it in order and then I kind of stopped. And with this one, I've kind of got a set colour palette, but not really. So you can see that these colours are very similar, because they're all the sorts of the same flowers and stuff. This one a bit different. I love the black background. Again, this is one of my favourite pages. This one took me a while to do. This was all in all, probably about a month, 2 months before I eventually finished it. It was a bit of a labour of love finishing it. It's just a lot of brown, and then I was kind of sick of it by the end, but I'm really glad it's done now. I always said I would do a curtain tutorial, but I haven't found another curtain picture. It's really easy to do. You just go in with lighter colours where the curtains are and then outline it in white gel pen, and you get a white Prismacolor and go over all of the colour that you coloured so that it kind of looks quite milky. Then I didn't do this one because, again, it's the same sort of flowers. I'm going to come back to it. And the other day I did this one, and I'd written down the colours, luckily, when I was coming back to it. The only thing is that my tree house is a bit lighter. It's a bit different than the other one. Let me just show you. So you can see that one's a bit darker. That one's a bit lighter. I've used the exact same colours, so I don't really know why it's a bit lighter, but I'm going to leave it. Everything else apart from that is the same. I actually prefer this page to the other one, this one, because I took a bit more care over the flowers and stuff than I did on this page. I did the background exactly the same as well, and the added bit of the squirrel there. So really, really cute, and it was just, you know, a good way of getting another of those repetitive pages done. Then we have this one, which I've just started today. I've just started adding all of the pastel. This is a very detailed page, and I don't want to spend ages going in on all of these bits and colouring it, because that would really, really put me off. So I've just gone over with a base of pastel. Probably these ones closer to the front I will put a bit of pencil on. But these ones at the back, I'm just going to go in with pencil and deepen up the shadows, because I cannot be bothered to go in with all those leaves. This bit I'm going to colour normally because they're the same colours as the other pages, and probably those leaves as well. The only annoying thing is I wanted a bit of a border so that the purple didn't go right up to the edge. I know it's weird that I'm doing a purple sky. When I first coloured this book with this page that I'm going to show you in a minute, I just decided to do purple sky and it stuck. And I guess because it's kind of a sort of a kind of whimsical world, I thought I would just do that. Anyway, so I put washi tape on, and it's lifted up a bit of the, you probably can't even see, which is probably a good sign, but I can see it. It's lifted up a bit of the paper at the top, which is really bugging me, but it's fine, I can't do anything about it now. It happened with my art book as well. I was using it the other day, but that was masking tape, and I thought washi tape would be better, but no. Only a tiny bit there, I don't really mind, but again, this is one that I really like because it's not a whole double page spread, but it's still a double page spread, so I'm still counting it as 2 pages completed. And because most of the pages are single-sided as well, it means that even though the book is really thick, you know, it's not actually that much. Okay, so after this page we have this one, which I did a while back. In fact, this was the other recent page I'd done apart from the one that I've done this month. This one was probably going back about 3 or 4 months, which just shows that I do just come back to it when I feel like it. I did this background in a much better way that I'd done it in the other page, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So I did everything the same as the other page, which I'll show you, but this background was just pastel. Then I went in with 2 purple Holbeins on the shadows, and that was so much easier than then going in with another dark pastel and putting it on, because this paper's quite it's really thick, but it's really smooth. There's not much tooth to be able to layer on pastel, so it did take a bit of effort getting all of these on, but I think it's really worth it when you finish it. It does just take longer. It's not as easy as, say, a Joanna Bastard book or something like that, so it is a bit of a struggle sometimes, but I really like the effect. Oops, sorry, I just took the camera. So I haven't done this one, but this will be a purple sky one as well, very similar to the other one. And this is the first page that I did. So I think I did this back in May 2018. May or June 2018. In fact, it might have been 2017. One of the two, I don't know. Probably May 2018, I think. So here you can see I just decided to do the purple sky and now it's stuck. And with this book, I only have put, I'm not sure why I decided to put glitter on the stairs, but I did. So I've been putting glitter on these stairs and on the moon bits, but I only put glitter otherwise on the butterflies. So this is kind of like a hidden book as well, because there are these little bear creatures here, and also there's the butterflies as well. So it starts off, it's called Vivi is Looking for a Friend in Swedish. This is the Dutch version. So she basically starts off at home and she's looking for a friend, and you can see she's upset. And then she goes with this bird and goes flying up to the sky and sees some cloud friends. Then she goes into the water and meets a mermaid and goes swimming with her and different animals. Then she ends up on the shore and meets a fox, an owl, as you can see. Then she finds this hidden house with this mouse. Then she's in the trees, and then she goes back home. And then she meets with all her friends. So it's a really lovely book, and you can see that's the map at the end. That's very detailed as well, so I'd definitely go in with pastel. It's a really nice storybook. Absolutely love it, but I have to be in the mood to colour it. But at the moment, I'm hooked. Okay, the next two books are Clara Markova's books. The first one is Fairy Celebrations. I absolutely love these books. I only got them fairly recently, so I've only done one page in this and I've done lots in the others. You probably would, in the other one, sorry, you probably will have seen them. These books are so well made. They're amazing. The binding, the paper, just the illustrations, absolutely amazing. I love the paper as well. I think it's gorgeous. I've coloured this page. And I use loads of different mediums to do accenting as well. So Posca, glitter gel pen, all of that. But I just think the illustrations are so gorgeous. I find this book is more detailed than the other one, I think. Again, not a bad thing. But each of them kind of tells their own story. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait until she comes out with her new book as well. But yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. I just think her style is so amazing because you just know it's her. With all of these, their styles are so unique, you would just know. But I think she's done an amazing job with her books. They're so interesting. Love them. So that's Fairy Celebrations, and I love the gold foiling on the front as well. It's an extra added touch there. And then we have Fairy Miracles by Clara Markova. There are lots of pages in here, and it's just amazing. They're all kind of clumped together, all of the pages that I've done. Done that one, which I've shown. The background I did a tutorial on if you want to check it out. This elf, which I did around Christmas time, I think. The Sweet Shop, which I finally finished. This was a whip in my last video, and I have now finished it. I really, really like this one. Really pleased with it. I will also at some point get round to a wood tutorial, although I'm thinking of doing a real-time video, maybe if I get round to it, and that will have wood in, so I might just do the tutorial then, but we'll see. Obviously with it being half term now, I've got a bit more time, but I don't know, so just bear with me. And then this is the first one that I did. Mouse on the Sled, which I really like. It's really cute. I find that I take my time with these. You know, that Sweet Shop page took me a little under a month, just because I was coming back to it when I chose, and it's one of those books that I don't mind taking my time on the pictures because they're so lovely. That's Fairy Miracles. You know, sometimes I just want pages to be done and then sometimes I don't mind taking my time. Next book is Fantastic Zoo by Cami Chidu. I got this last January. I've had it for about a year now, and I've done about half of the pages, and this is a book that I eventually want to complete. When I first got it, I started sussing out a colour palette. I've got one, and I've been using it ever since on my pages, so it's got a recurring theme throughout the book, and you guys have probably seen it a lot now. I did a full review and a tiny bit of colouring when I showed it, and I'm so pleased that more people have been getting it now because I absolutely love it. It's so unique. Again, I don't know how many times I've said that word today, but the illustrations are just so interesting. And I was mentioning, because I've got his storybook as well, and the reason that I haven't coloured in it is because I'm really focusing on this one at the moment, and then eventually I will get round to that, probably when I finish this, but it's still going to be a while until I finish this. What I tend to do is, with all of these untangles, is I will colour the animal accurately and put all of the colours that I usually would in, and then the Zentangles are always a mixture of the colours that I've used on the animal. So, for example, this one that I finished just yesterday, I really like this one, it's one of my favourites. These penguins, I used black and grey colours on their body, and these Zentangles down here are the mixture of blacks and greys. So I never pick out extra colours for the Zentangles. I always utilise the colours that I've already used, just to minimalise. Oh my god, I can't speak today. Minimise too many colours, because, as you know, Zentangles, it can get a bit much. So I try to minimise the amount of colour so it looks good together. But the paper is nice. It's not that thick though, so you wouldn't really be able to use water medium or felt tips or anything on here, which is a shame. But I know that the storybook has got much thicker paper. It's really thick. Just bear with me a minute, I need to get the door. Sorry about that. So yeah, as I said, I really like this book. Okay, next we have The Flower Year. Now this is a book that I really want to complete. It's probably the one that I'm working on the most. I aim to get 2 pages a month done, just so that I'm steadily working through it. It's really battered. I know you've probably seen it a lot, but it's such a lovely book. It's so detailed, so again I kind of have to be in a mood to do it. I've got quite a few whips in here because I come back to them when and if I want to. So this is the February one that I'm currently working on, which hopefully you'll see in my February completed pages, because I always do the title page and then I'll always do something else as well. So I'm doing that one, and then this is one of my favourites. Love it. And then I'm also working on a couple of others. This one. And I'm pretty sure I've got another one. I've got another one somewhere. But the idea behind this is that all the flowers that you see in the particular month correspond with that month. So it's a year of flowers, basically, hence the name. I absolutely love it, and I try to make these look as realistic as possible, and I tend not to go in with glitter. I just do white gel pen if I need to, or I just leave it as it is, because with them being accurate, I just want them to just, you know, be on their own, because, you know, in real wildlife you wouldn't have glitter on them. Well, you wouldn't have white gel pen, but they're just to kind of add like snow on this page, for example. And again, that's one of my favourites. So it's just an amazing book, and it takes a while to complete a page, but it's really worth it for me. I'm sure I had another one but maybe I do just have this one. Might not get that one done this month, so I might just work on some of the smaller things. But we will see. I love it nevertheless. It's so gorgeous. So this is the flower year, and I highly recommend getting any of these books that I've shown, because I absolutely love them. And last but not least is I've been the Inky Butterfly. This is, I'm not sure if it's my favourite, but it's definitely up there in my top 3. But you know, if I obviously love it, otherwise I wouldn't have completed it. You know, it took a lot of hard work to do it, but I did do it in a year. There's a completed flip through on my channel. You will have probably seen it a fair few times just in other various videos as well. So this was from the 11th of November 2017 to the 3rd of November 2018. And I'm just going to show you a few of my favourite pages, obviously with me having completed the entire book. Okay, so this is one of my other favourites. And at this time I did have the Wink of Stella pen, but I also had silver gel pen. I hadn't, by the end of colouring this book, I had discovered the clear glitter gel pen, but not much. This is one of my favourites as well. I did loads of these pages on holiday, because I was mainly just working in this book the whole holiday. And I kind of just used pastel in them for the backgrounds. I didn't really use pencil for the backgrounds. This one I really like. That's my thumbnail for my YouTube channel. Just one of my favourites. I have never really got them that accurate, again, the mushrooms, in terms of the red colour. Really like this one as well. I was just really happy with the outcome. There were things that I would obviously change, and at some point in the future I would like a second copy, not to complete again probably, but just to redo some of my favourite pages. Some of these were very tedious to do, and sometimes I just put the book away, you know, I didn't want to colour it, and sometimes I just stuck with it. But this double page spread, this background, and just all of it just took such a long time, and it is a commitment finishing a book, but I'd highly recommend it, because it just, you feel so accomplished once you've finished it. So so yeah, I was really chuffed when I finished it. That was the last one that I did. But yeah, that's everything I've got to show you. So I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I'm just going to put a few of these books down. I always enjoy seeing these sorts of videos and seeing completed pages and see what people's favourite books are, so I really hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for the suggestion, Crystal. I really enjoyed making this video. If you have any video suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below, or alternatively you can email me. I've got my information as well in the description. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.